tracks today.
Yeah. I need them bands, run it up fast, stuffing them shits in the safe. Got me a spot out the way, nigga just tryna be safe. Leaving the house with the glizzy, nigga.
Let's get to the sports talk.
Annual top 5 most confusing teams heading into this season. You don't look confused in this graphic, but you and Kevin Arnovitz, every year you do this podcast, talk about teams that you don't know really what direction they're going to go. And I want to start with the Boston Celtics. What confuses you most about the Boston Celtics?
Everyone is super optimistic about the Celtics, and I get it. They have a lot of talent. But I also feel like we watched this movie last year where they have a super ball-dominant point guard and 4 wings who really, really need and really, really want the ball, and it caused a lot of problems. Now, the new point guard, I think, is going to be a much sunnier presence in the locker room than the one that's gone. But even bigger than that is a guy who did his best to connect everyone, keep the offense moving, stabilize the defense, is gone, and that's Al Horford, and they just don't have like a proven good big man, really. I mean, they have Enes Kanter who can score, a bunch of backup centers, a rookie in Grant Williams who's interesting. I think
You just want to know what direction Boston heading in. You know, is somebody gonna take a back seat, or they gonna be the same as they was last year? Is they gonna be selfish enough everybody want to score? That's what got them in trouble last year, and I feel like it's still gonna be like that because everyone gonna feel like they the star players. You know, they got a bunch of players that could get to the finals. It just somebody got to learn to take a back seat, and they still young. So nobody gonna want to take a back seat. It's gonna be the same thing from last year. They still gonna be a good team, but they gonna have an up and down year because nobody don't know how to take a back seat yet. Cause they still very young, and no one want to take a back seat. Everyone want to showcase they is the face of the franchise, or they the star players of the team. It's just they confusing. You don't know what they're gonna do. Because all of them gonna want the basketball in their hands. Like they said, Al Horford ain't there to keep them together. So it's gonna be the same thing from last year. Like, you don't know what direction they're in.
Horford loss is enormous, and I'm just curious, are they going to be the clear-cut number 3 team in the East like everyone thinks?
It'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I think obviously Kemba brings a different energy,
Yes.
which I think that team needs. A year healthier for Gordon Hayward, and they're going to be a wing-dominant team. You know, Kanter could score. You're definitely going to miss the presence of Horford, but, you know, can they really find an identity this year? Can they get back to making the progress and the jumps they made 2 years ago when they didn't have Kyrie or Gordon? So I'm looking for a lot out of Tatum. You know, Marcus Smart is probably going to be their veteran leader now, so we'll have to see, though.
I'm looking for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, by the way, to push through, right? Because they're of an age now and a level of experience in the league where we made a lot of projections about them off of that year, season 2 seasons ago. I want to see them start to fulfill more of that now. Do you think that time together on Team USA, those 4 players, is going to help them, even though the team didn't do so well?
I just think experience. Anytime you can play on a national team, I think that's going to give you more confidence. You're going to understand, kind of find your game a little bit more, and then coming into the regular season is a different story. So like you said, the key is, can they, you know, live up to the expectations and continue to go higher, because they're very talented, but now they're going to have to prove it.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of positives to take out of this. here's one thing I would say. I think Boston should think harder than I think they are about starting Marcus Smart, because he's just a guy who he doesn't need the ball. He doesn't want to score. But then that shows you then someone has to make a really, really hard sacrifice between probably Brown and Hayward, and those are the sacrifices that we're not.
I just said that. Who gonna take that back seat to make the team go? Who willing to take the back round so the team could be successful? You don't know, cause now one of them don't want to do that. They want that spotlight attention, and until they learn how to take that back seat, they gonna have another up and down year. They still gonna be a good team to get to the playoffs, But you need somebody to take that back seat.
For anyone to make last year.
How important is having the glue guy out there?
Well, I think I was a glue guy myself, and Marcus Smart is, a smaller version of what I did. You know what I mean? And I wasn't out there. I didn't need the ball. When I got the ball, I could knock down shots and be creative offensively. But my thing was holding the team together on both ends and then playing balls to the wall defense, guarding the best player every night. And that's what he does. So like Zach said, can someone sacrifice coming off the bench, or do they bring him off the bench? So I think whether you start him or bring him off the bench is interesting. But if you start him, who's going to be that spark plug off the bench for you? Because you definitely need that. So to me, it's really never been about who starts, it's about who finishes the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, both Brown and Hayward had their turns not starting last year. So
and didn't go great.
We'll see. Next up, Zach, I want to ask what confuses you most about the San Antonio Spurs, because they were on your list too.
They were on Kevin's list, not mine.
Okay.
But look, the most surefire way to look dumb in the last 10 years has been pronouncing the Spurs dead.
I think you did that last year, right?
I said they would not make the playoffs last year.
How'd that go for you?
They made the playoffs. And now they get DeJounte Murray back, who they were super excited about. Derek White kind of broke out. I like their team. I think they're a good, deep team. I think DeMarre Carroll still has something to give them. And yet you look at the numbers, last year they were thoroughly mediocre with DeRozan and Aldridge on the floor. They were like barely plus anything. They killed people with their bench. Patty Mills, Bellinelli, Davis Bertans, they'd come in just letting it fly, letting threes fly. Is that sustainable? Is that going to carry over? There it is, just barely over 500 essentially. Is that model replicable, or do they? And in the West, everybody got better. Like they got Murray back, but everybody. Phoenix got better. Everybody got better.
I love how even Phoenix got better.
Imagine that.
How confused are you about the Spurs?
Nothing confuses me about the Spurs. They are who they.
Yes, they're gonna be who they is, but they're gonna still be an average team. Last year, they got to the second round. They got to the. Did they get to the second round? No. They lost to Denver. They're gonna be an average team. No wrong, DeRozan, Aldridge are they star players, but they not gonna go that far. They gotta find identity, like who gonna help them get back to the championship ways. Cause to me, they gonna probably barely get to the playoffs and just be an average team in there. Cause the West is a lot harder now. It's been harder, but everybody then got better and better and better and tougher. And the Spurs just jack of all trades. They ain't gonna be doing too much. They still gonna be a team, they gonna get there, but not gonna go nowhere. Probably losing the first round. Cause they don't have a team to go for. Yeah, they got a good bench, but that's about it. But they are not gonna accomplish something this year. You gotta wait to see how they gonna turn out, but to me, they still gonna be an average team that's not gonna do too much. Get to the playoffs and lose.
To me, they're similar to a situation like the Patriots. They just plug people in, and the system that's been created around them is amazing. We don't see them. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised when we say they're not going to be fighting for a title, but they'll definitely be in the mix. They'll definitely be a tough out, and that's all you've ever asked from a pop team. They don't have the star power to get them through the West, I don't feel, or to a championship. Take it a step further, but they'll definitely be in the mix, and they're always going to be a tough out in the playoffs.
And they're good comparison to the Patriots too, because the way they quote plug people into the system, it's not that they just play the same style year after year after year at all. Pop has changed radically in this current era with these players from the last one, and by the way, that was a big change from the one before that, etc. It's that knowing and trusting in the system hasn't changed, and the ability to do it.
BS doesn't fly there.
Yes.
So whatever it is, wherever you are in the Patriots and the Spurs organization, BS doesn't fly, and no one's bigger than the team, and that's going to continue to make them, someone that's going to be around.
Absolutely. All right, I want to head over to South Beach, or at least the arena across from it. Zach, what is most confusing about the Heat to you?
They have the strangest collection of players in the whole league. They're huge. They have three really big wings who can pretty much play power forward full time if you need to. They have three centers, two of whom are like strictly shooting centers, in Kelly Olynyk and Myers Leonard. So there's a logjam there, and it's just Dion Waiters is back from Waiters Island. And
you can go back to Waiters Island now.
I own a timeshare on Waiters Island. But it's like the challenge for them is constructing lineups that have enough shooting and enough defense. Like, which one are you sacrificing?
They're another team. What they gonna be? Because they don't have shooters on the team. Yeah, they big man can shoot, but they don't have that much. I think they're gonna be another average team. Gonna probably barely get in. They got a good enough team to get, to the playoffs, but they still don't know the identity of that team is. They do have the oddest team right now. No 3-point shooting at all. And you don't know what direction they going in themselves. Like, you guys had this team work out and everything. You guys see what Eric Spoelstra put together. Like, how his lineup gonna look. Is it gonna be good enough to get to the playoffs? Or it's gonna be a struggle? But I feel like Jimmy Butler present there is gonna help him get there, but they're not gonna do that much either.
Very hard for. But I will say, I know they are reinvigorated by having a true blue superstar on their team in Jimmy Butler, and I like their mix. I think they're going to be really good.
Yeah, I think they play hard, and that's the key. Adding Jimmy Butler is only going to help to that. And do they trade for Chris Paul? Do they put something together, and does the money add up to the next 3 years and what he's owed? And what are they going to do with that? But I said, anytime you play hard, you're going to be someone that's definitely in the East that's going to be competitive. They'll be a playoff team, but I like to see if they're able to get Chris Paul, what they could really do. I'm not saying they'll come out of the East, but they'll definitely be more competitive with Chris.
I feel like this year I know more about how that team's going to work on the floor. The last couple years, it really felt strange that for a team that is always so smart about how they put players together, right? Andy is one of the smartest guys in terms of roster management and construction, and Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. You just kept looking at all these pieces going, how is this working? And this year I feel like, okay, I get it. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights